What is going on, everybody? Welcome to OG55 all the way live. We are taking all your questions. Ask us absolutely anything. Anything. You want to talk about music? You want to talk about movies? You want to talk, hey, OG, what's your favorite color? You want, oh, George, what color socks you wearing right now? Whatever the question is, we will answer it. We'll also take your Disney questions. I see a bunch of them already in the chat. We'll take everything up next on OG55 Live. Welcome aboard to another OG55 Live. I see Kiki and Luca in the chat asking, is this live? Yes, Kiki, this is absolutely live. We don't really go live very often, but we are live right now. So thank you and welcome. Welcome, everybody. I want to welcome Kiki. I want to welcome Lovelo, Matthew Murr, and Alessio Pasquale with the super chats. Alessio, we're going to get to your super chats in like just a couple of minutes. Thank you, brother. We appreciate that. Very generous of you, sir. But before we get started, I want to introduce my colleague, my brother, my partner in crime, my fellow Italiano, Mr. George Citrus. George, welcome back to the channel, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. Glad to be live. As I had mentioned, OG, it's been a while since we did a live show. So it's great to be in the live with the chat and everybody. Can't wait to hear your questions. And we're just here to have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, before I get to some of these super chats and some of these comments, I do want to say that Mr. Vash Sky, regular on this channel for years, is unfortunately no longer part of the OG55 channel. He actually sent out a tweet today talking about it. He is no longer here. So we wish Dre the best. We absolutely wish him the best and all the success. He will be going over to Theme Park Wizards' new channel. I believe it's called Theme Park Universe. It's a YouTube channel and a podcast where they talk all about theme parks, not just Disney. And he'll also be working with WDW Pro on his channel. And now I don't really know the details as to what exactly he'll be doing over at Pro's channel, but you can check him out on that as well. So again, there's no hard feelings, nothing like that. We wish Dre the absolute best. And Dre, thank you for all the years, a lot of great conversations, a lot of good times, brother. And just thank you. And just want to let our audience know that he will no longer be on the channel. So let's dive right into the super chats. Okay, so friend of the channel, Mr. Alessio Pasquale. Alessio sounds like another Italiano, George, doesn't he?
Italiano, yes.
Italiano. Yeah, absolutely. So Alessio says here, should Disney heavily market Walt Disney Animation Studios' Wish to ensure it is a global box office hit this Thanksgiving, so Disney's rough 100th anniversary at the box office ends strongly for them? Alessio, yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Disney needs to make sure that this movie is an absolute smash hit. Now, look, here's the thing. They have something going for it that a lot of the more recent stuff hasn't had. And that this is what seems like a traditional Disney animated film, that fairy tale musical. Typically, these kind of movies for Disney do very well, typically. So it has that advantage kind of out the gate. But Disney has suffered lately with their films at the box office. They've suffered lately with their animation, especially this film. There's a lot riding on this, Alessio. They have got to promote the hell out of this thing. This thing has got to be a huge win for Disney. Now, I'm not saying it has to do Super Mario Brothers numbers. You know, this is an original IP. You know, it's not going to have that same kind of like draw as like a Mario, which has 40 years of fandom behind it, but it has to come out strong. It has to do well. It has to show the world again, hey, Disney animation is back. What do you think, George?
I agree. I do feel like Disney has to market this film. However, they do have to market it well, because there's different variations of how you can market a film. And if Disney does not do it correctly, it could actually hurt them in the long run. For instance, It also depends too on how the film is just in general.
Right.
Hopefully Disney, created a fun-filled classic Disney musical that, it goes back to the origins of Disney classic fairy tale animation that started with Walt himself. So hopefully that the marketing could help the film progress, as long as the film itself is a strong film. If the film is weak, unfortunately, like some of Disney's other films like Lightyear and Strange World, no matter how you marketed something, if it's a bad film, unfortunately, it's not going to work out. However, I do have high hopes for Wish,
Yeah.
because I feel like it does kind of give off that true Disney fairy tale animation. I do hope it is a strong film, especially because they're tying this into the 100th of the company. So
Right.
it's like they're saying this is 100 years in the making, yada yada yada. So it's like, what is making this particular film than any other Disney animated film uh, different, separate from
Right.
itself? So I'm curious to see how it is, and I do wish it well.
Yeah, no, it all comes down to how good the movie is. I remember leading up to Frozen, a lot of fans were wondering, like, where's the marketing for Frozen? I know it seems weird now after the fact, because Disney went all in on Frozen once they realized they had a hit on their hands. But leading up to that movie, Disney didn't have a lot of faith in that film. There was a lot of fans complaining like there wasn't like a trailer, and there weren't doing enough to promote it. The movie hit, and it just resonated like crazy with fandom and the music and everything. So look, yeah, the marketing helps. The marketing absolutely helps. But at the end of the day, the film is going to have to carry. So if they market the hell out of it and then people get into the theater and the movie's not good, that's going to be a problem. I don't think, and this is just my speculation, I don't think that will be the case with Wish. I do believe it will be a solid movie. It looks cool. The style of animation looks cool and everything. We'll see how it is. I don't know. Alessio continues, I specifically say Wish because that film's success for Disney with a different animation style for them, and if it's as great as claimed to be, could make them let Disney Plus's Tiana be hand-drawn animated. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It might pave the way for something like that as well, Alessio. You're absolutely right. And Alessio here concludes with, and aside from pushing them back to hand-drawn animation, Wish's success could also prevent Walt Disney Animation Studios from suffering more layoffs. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Alessio is right. This style of animation is more of a hybrid from what I understand. It has like that hand-drawn style. I think there's a lot of computer stuff in it too, though. But it would pave the way for more kind of hand-drawn, traditional-looking animated film. So, yeah, Alessio, I really hope, brother, this movie does well. I'm rooting for it. I think it probably will. But, hey, it's never know.
The animation kind of reminds me of the Disney animated short Paperman a little bit. I don't know if you had seen it, OG, or anyone in the chat has seen Paperman. It actually premiered at the Disney Animated Studios in Burbank, which I got to see the premiere of it when we went out for the Destination D 75 years of Disney animation, where on the third day, if you purchased the diamond level ticket, they took you up to the studios in Burbank and they gave us a tour. And Paperman was one of the animated shorts that they showed us with this new kind of technology where it blends the traditional 2D animation with computer generated effects.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and this was kind of the natural evolution, I think, for CGI. When CGI came onto the scene with like Toy Story and stuff, there was almost like an arms race to get as realistic as you can possibly get, right? How real can we get with this new technology? And I think right now, they've kind of hit the wall. Like that now it's uber realistic. So now they're kind of looking for ways to, what can we do now? Because we can't go any more realistic. So what do? We stylize, right? So that Paperman style comes into play. The Wish style comes into play. And I really like that. And actually kudos to DreamWorks Animation for their Puss in Boots movie. That movie actually has a really, really cool animation style. Kind of has like that oil painting, kind of very fantasy look to it. I think this is the future of animation right now, is a little more stylized and kind of breaking away from the super realistic. So we got our friend from all the way from the UK, Mr. Matthew Murr. He says, what do you think are the absolute best and worst scenarios for the future of the Walt Disney Company right now? Matthew is a friend of the channel. We love Matthew Murr. And Matthew, I wouldn't stress out too much. Okay. And I know there's going to be people that tell me, oh, OG, you're just a fucking pixie duster. I'm not a pixie duster. Okay. I understand the stock is at $80 a share right now. I understand the stock is going through hell right now. I understand the company is struggling right now. At the same time, though, we have to put things in perspective. Every studio is going through hell right now. It's not just the Mouse House. It's not just Disney. So it's all of them. It's all of them. There's a seismic shift right now in Hollywood. So look, I think that the best case scenario is I think that they will likely sell some of these assets off. So you're probably going to get some sort of sale or partnership of like an ESPN. You might get a sale or even a partnership of like an ABC or a Freeform and those kind of things. I think we will see a leaner Walt Disney Company. We've had a lot of expansion with Disney over the past 15 years under Bob Iger, as he spent like a drunk sailor acquiring just about everything under the sun. The natural evolution is that it would come back. The pendulum would swing again the other direction. And I think we're going to see that. The Walt Disney Company will be here. The Walt Disney Company will survive. We will be fine. But I think that some of this extra stuff like ESPN, ABC, I think that will probably go. But what do you think, Mr. George?
Yeah, I actually agree with you. And honestly, Mr. Bob Iger should take his cue from us, because unlike him that just goes and spends on anything, you and I are very cautious and careful about what we spend on. But I mean, like when we find something that strikes our interest, we go all in for it. And, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Shell it out.
Exactly. No, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I gotta be real. Like everybody, like I'm terrible with money, dude. Like I'm terrible. I could have like $20 in my bank account. I go to the mall. I see a Funko Pop for $19.99. I don't get paid in like 5 days. Fuck it. I'll buy it.
I'm like, honestly, I'm sort of kind of like, I am a little bit frugal with my money, but I mean, like, if I really do see something and it's like, you know what, live life to the fullest. You only live once. It's like, if you want something, you want to do something, go for it. I always have like that Walt Disney kind of mentality. It's like Walt could have been broke many times, which he has been. I mean, he mortgaged his house. He did everything. And it's like, and look what it came of it. So even from the very beginning with Walt, there was lots of ups and downs with the company that he was building. So it's very telling of how far the company has come over the first 100 years. And I'm for sure they'll have a lot of ups and downs in the next 100 years, but Disney is here to stay. For the naysayers that say, oh, Disney's going to, erupt into a ball of fire and disintegrate forever. You could say that about any other kind of company as well. But why is Disney being brought up? Because it's a name brand household name. A lot of people talk about it, whether it's for the good or the bad. But I'm a very optimistic person, and I feel like Disney came out of ruts before, and they'll do it again.
They'll do it again. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be unchanged by this. I mean, I do think there will be changes to the Walt Disney Company, but I think the core product, the parks, the movies will remain. And just the extra shit that probably shouldn't be part of Disney anyway will probably be sold off or spun off or whatever. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But at the end of the day, I still have hope that we'll be okay. But Mr. Andrew Kellogg here says, do you think that Disneyland should be part of the National Registry of Historic Places? No, actually, Andrew. While that would be cool to have that, to say that, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but once you do that, you're restricted as to what you can do with the place. So Walt Disney, when he built Disneyland, it was built with the idea that as long as there's imagination in the world, Disneyland will never be complete. It was supposed to be this ever-evolving sort of thing he can tinker with. Once you put it in that registry as a historical place, I think you're limited as to what you can do with it in terms of change. Now, look, I get it, fandom. Change is really scary. I get it. Oh, man, my favorite ride is closing. Oh, man, my favorite area is getting rethemed. Oh, man, I don't want Baymax. What the hell is this? I get it. But That's the philosophy that Walt Disney had building this thing. It was that this thing would constantly evolve. And look, some of the changes, you're going to love them. A lot of them, though, you might not. And that's okay. I would rather stay true to the philosophy that change is at the heart of these Disney parks than wrap this place in bubble wrap and say, oh, there it is. It's perfect. Never change it. That is the most anti-Walt Disney thing you could possibly do. Go ahead, George.
No, I agree with you. I feel that was one of Walt's biggest pet peeves is he did not want his happy place to become a historic museum. You know, he wanted it to evolve and change and grow. And that's actually where he kind of felt towards his animated films. Once he completed the process of you know, pre-production and post-production of his films, and it was completed, it was done. It was over. And he even said that it's like Snow White was dead to me in that sense because it was finished. Once a film is finalized, you can't go back and change it. It's there. It's imprinted in America cinema forever. But a theme park, he wanted something that he can change and evolve and grow as time went on. He said even the trees would be more beautiful, you know, and it's like it just keeps blossoming and it just keeps going, and that's what he wanted. So I think it would be a tremendous insult to the founder of the company if they didn't change and update stuff, you know. And I feel like if they didn't, then Diz Twitter would be in an uproar of saying, oh, how come we're not getting no new things? How come everything is just sitting there and it's old and desecrated? And it's like, well, pick and choose your battles.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think actually a friend of the channel, Victoria, actually on Twitter or X or whatever the hell they call it now, she kind of touched upon that this morning on a tweet. Like, this is kind of exhausting. Like, every time something changes or every time there's something new, it's just the fans complain. And I'm with you, Victoria, on that. I get it. And that doesn't mean that you shill and you stand for everything. That doesn't mean that you love everything, but just the constant outrage machine, it just wears on you, man. It just gets old. Joseph Michael here. Again, thank you, Joseph, for the $2 super chat, sir. Do appreciate it. Vash Sky has lost faith, hasn't he? Yeah, he did. He actually approached me and he said, you know what, OG, dude, you're so fucking into this K-pop shit now. I just can't be part of this anymore.
Which actually, speaking of which, when you said in the very beginning about OG, what's your favorite color? You have two favorite colors, and I think it's black and pink, I believe, isn't it?
Well, it's I have three favorite colors. I have black, pink, and orange.
There you go.
I think here,
Orange
right
Grove 55.
It's the revolution.
There you go.
Vashti has not lost faith. I don't know what you mean by that, actually, in all seriousness, Joseph. I don't know what you mean by that. No, it's just we're just going in different directions. And you'll be able to find, I don't know if you were here in the beginning, Joseph, you'll be able to find Vash on multiple platforms. He's going to be part of Theme Park Wizard's new channel called Theme Park Universe. Check it out. It's all about theme parks, and he'll also be part of WDW Pro's channel. And again, I don't know the details of the pro stuff, but he'll be part of that network as well. So if you are a huge Vash fan, you have options, and we support. Hey, look, we wish Vash the very best. We have no bad blood, no hard feelings, nothing like that. We wish him the very, very best, and I'm sure he's a very, very smart dude. He will thrive in any environment that he's in. So yeah, but yeah, he did lose faith though, because he did say that I was way too K-pop for him. So I don't know, he just couldn't do it. Okay, so next one is Andrew Kellogg again with saying if you can build any unbuilt Disney projects, what would it have been? Oh, come on, Westcott.
That's yours, OG. That'll never change. You just want your Westcott, man.
Yeah, no, I love Westcott. That would have been so cool. Like, this is a concept art. Okay, everyone in the chat, if you haven't really like dove into the Westcott thing, do yourself a favor, Google it. Google image search, do whatever you can. Just kind of immerse yourself in that whole thing. what they had planned for not just the park, but like the surrounding area was so cool. I would have loved to seen that come to fruition at Disneyland Resort. Now it's not too late because we're probably going to get Disneyland Forward. So Disney, if you want to do the right thing, you can definitely go ahead and make that happen and put Westcott in the Toy Story lot. Just saying. No, but probably not going to happen. But I think Westcott, even in this new age that we live in with all the kind of this IP focus and all that, I think you could still make a Westcott park. You could throw your IP in, just like Epcot's doing right now with like Frozen Ever After and stuff. You could throw your IP in the various continents. But I think the drinking around the world stuff would be huge out here for like the magic key holders and things like that. So I don't know. That's kind of where I stand. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I mean, I think a Westcott would have been great for California, for Disneyland. I do like the fact that they kind of have that mixed in with DCA a little bit, you know, like with when they have like the festivals and what have you. I do to Mr. Kellogg's question, something that I personally would build, and I'm not saying this because they mentioned this as a what if at the D23 Expo. Believe it or not, this is something that I had in my mind many years ago, and I actually have the proof because I drew on a little sketch pad my interpretation of a villain's land. And I have a little story. I don't know if I shared it on the channel, but I'll run by it real quick of how I came up with that. Back in 2006, I was at Walt Disney World and I went to go see the Castle stage show called Dream Along with Mickey at the time. And there's a section in the show where Maleficent comes out and she tries to invoke into the kingdom that if the kingdom stops believing, that it becomes the place where nightmares come true instead of dreams. And so they do a little chant, you know, Mickey and his friends, they get the guests involved saying dreams come true and what have you. And it kind of makes Maleficent's evil powers go away just magically. But the line that she said right before she exited off the castle stage was, and I quote, "One day the kingdom will stop believing and all will be lost. Remember, you haven't seen the last of me." And that line kind of stuck with me. I was 16 at the time. And I thought, well, Disney's all about what ifs. So it's like, what if there was a part of the kingdom that stopped believing?
Right.
And the villains kind of moved into their own territory. But the twist of it was they didn't want nothing too scary because they want as much power as they can. So they hid their evilness into their own kind of amusement enterprise that got guests into there. So the more guests that go in and enjoy their part of the land, the more powerful they become secretly.
Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. And then our next question here is from Mr. John McKinney. John, very generous super chat. Thank you so much, brother. We do appreciate you, sir. When do you think the twist villain trend started in Disney movies? I say it was Rourke and Atlantis. Disney Wiki says the two that preceded him were Jafar from Aladdin and Clayton from Tarzan. Well, okay. I don't really remember Atlantis, to be honest with you. It's been years since I've seen that. But with Jafar, I wouldn't really consider him a twist villain, John, just because I think what qualifies a twist villain is that the audience doesn't know they're a villain, right? So, like with Jafar, like the players in the movie maybe didn't necessarily know that he was a bad guy, but everyone in the audience knew that he was the bad guy from the jump. Like, so I don't necessarily refer to him as a twist villain. I think the twist villain thing, I don't know, for Disney, I would say Tangled probably, if I'm not really, maybe I'm not remembering, but I think Tangled was probably the first one where maybe you were like, ooh, that's weird. But I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with it. What do you think, George?
Well, for me, it wouldn't be Tangled because at the very beginning, it kind of showcases Mother Gothel as like when she is like this old hag, so she kidnaps Rapunzel. So
that's true.
So you kind of already get the notion this woman is up to no good. Believe it or not, one of the villains that kind of was a twist villain for me was King Candy. in Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh yeah. Okay, that might have been okay, and that was like 20.
That
Well,
was 2012.
2012. Okay,
Yeah,
it was
because
around.
he seemed a bit shady, but he never
Yeah,
really showcased that he was a villain. And then the plot twist was at the very end, he turned out to be Turbo,
right.
the character that went rogue, or I forget the term that they use in the arcade game world, but he went rogue and went into another game and created another identity as King Candy and took over the Sugar Rush game. So that for me was that was the twist villain for me.
Yeah, no, you're right. That was very much a twist villain. Yeah, that might have been the first one. You're right. You're right about the Mother Gothel thing. It's been a while since I really sat down and watched a lot of these, to be honest. So, John McKinney here says, again, thank you so much, John. And we appreciate the super chats, brother. Thank you so much. Part 2 says, but I don't buy that. Jafar and Clayton might have been on the hero side beforehand, but I saw it coming a mile away. Exactly. That's what I was saying with Jafar, especially. Like, the audience knew from the get-go Jafar was a bad guy, you know? So
okay,
that's
this is going to sound very horrible of me because I researched a little bit of backstory to this.
Okay.
And people are probably going to get my ass chewed out for this, but so
George.
but so when it comes to villains, in a way, I kind of felt bad for Scar. Because if you kind of go back to his backstory, he was kind of abused as a cub. He was if you really literally go back to the origins of the Lion King, where it says Scar's real name and what have you, that he wasn't very liked in the pride that he was in when he and Mufasa's father was king. And it was a lot going on where he actually had a traumatized cubhood, so to speak. So
wow.
That's why he grew up to be very resentful and very dark and very evil. So in a way, now, do I agree with him killing Mufasa? Absolutely not. But I can see where the transparency came from of why he hated his brother so much.
Right. That's interesting. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. I did not know that. Where was his backstory, George, again?
It's I'd have to
Is it like in one of the sequels or something? The direct to video?
It's actually on I don't know if it's on like a Disney wiki or it's like on a website. It actually goes back to the origins of the story behind the story, so to speak.
That's wild. That's wild. Now, Kiki and Luca here. Kiki's coming in spicy with this one, George. We might disagree with this one, I think.
Okay.
She says here, Flight of Passage, very overrated. CGI was subpar. Good ride, not worth a 2-hour wait. Now, Kiki, I recently went to Walt Disney World for the very first time. Very first time. I'm a Disneylander. And I will always be a Disneylander at heart. I grew up, my whole childhood is wrapped up in Disneyland. But I really fell in love with Walt Disney World. I think Walt Disney World is a very, very special place. I really, really did enjoy it. Flight of Passage was actually one of the highlights of my trip. This is such a surreal experience. Like, it almost feels like, and this is going to sound really bad, so I probably shouldn't say it. No, fuck it. You know what? Let's just say it. No, basically what I feel Flight of Passage kind of feels like to me is like when you listen to people have like near-death experiences, you know, you hear these people like, I died and came back, right? It's like I was on the wing of a butterfly, you know, or going through these luscious green hills and this whole thing. I'm like, that's what this ride feels like. It's this gorgeous, like, beautiful experience. And it's not, you know, it's not like the typical like web slingers or like Transformers, the ride, obnoxious, like everything in your face. It just takes its time and it just works so beautifully. And everything is just so amazing. Like this visual, it's like, it really is like art. You know what I'm saying? Just like theme park art, if that makes sense. I fell in love with it. Kiki, I'm sorry. I love Kiki and Luca, but I gotta disagree with you. What do you say, George?
Yeah, sorry, Kiki and Luca. I have to agree with OG. Actually, Flight of Passage, which this is something now that OG will disagree with me on. Flight of Passage and Cosmic Rewind are my top two favorite attractions
Yeah,
in
Cosmic
Walt Disney
Rewind
World.
is like, oh my god, that ride is like it crosses a line and then crosses another line. It's like too intense for me, way too
Yeah,
intense.
so for all of you who don't know, when OG and I were at Walt Disney World, I I kind of knew like how OG was like with certain rides and everything, but I didn't really know fully like what is his like threshold and where the line is drawn. So to me, I'm a thrill junkie. So
Right.
I can't really tell when the bar is over and beyond for somebody else. I can only just give my personal opinion and interpretation on it. But
Yeah.
apparently I thought Cosmic Rewind was going to be okay, but after that he's like nope, that's a one and done for me, bro.
I'm telling you, man, I was on this ride and comment in the chat. I don't know. I mean, everyone's mileage varies, but I'm on this ride and I'm like, I physically almost couldn't take it. It was so, it was so crazy. But I could see why. If you're a thrill junkie, dude, this is the ride, man. This is absolutely the ride. If you're a thrill junkie, this is the thing that is going to just blow your mind. I'm not a thrill junkie. I'm honestly not. I've never been to Six Flags Magic Mountain, honestly, because I have no desire. What am I going to do there? I don't like those kind of rides. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, not to interrupt you, OG, really quick. I haven't been to Six Flags Magic Mountain 2, but the only reason why is I don't feel like getting another tetanus shot. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. Now, our good friend Alia, aloha. Alia in the chat. We love Alia. Contributor on the channel, Alalia. I can't talk today. What's going on? Alia, aloha, says here, mic dropped, George and OG well said. Well, thank you, Alia. We appreciate you, as always. We got to get Alia back on the channel. We absolutely
do. We do.
And Tyler Froming here says, when do you think entirely IP-based experiences all finally be shaken up with original attractions again? Tyler, I'm telling you, my man, that's a pipe dream, dude. No, this is the thing, Tyler. The normies love this stuff. The normies love it. Look, okay, so George, we went on the Disney cruise, right? The Disney Wish.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Our final day there, we had the Marvel restaurant. Now, I mean, look, we're in this bubble, right? Of these nerds, like we're all nerds, like myself included. I'm not talking shit. We're all nerds, okay? And we all want like the nerdy, like non-IP thing. Okay, get it. We're in this bubble, right? We're at this Marvel restaurant with you, myself, Vash, Sky, and Mindy, right? And we're like, whatever, right? The normies were going absolutely bonkers. Spider-Man comes out. You would have thought Elvis rose from the dead. These people were climbing over chairs to see
literally,
Spider-Man.
and he's not saying that. Like, they were literally climbing over chairs.
Literally, like it was out of control. And I think I told you, George, I was like, and I think I told Ray too, actually. I'm like, see what I'm saying? Like, we're not, I think as fans, we have to be aware of the gap. There is a gap. This is the thing. Like, as super fans, our desires for what these parks are going to be very different, and a lot of times from what the normies want. The normies want the Spider-Man thing. The normies want the Frozen thing. They want to go see Anna and Elsa with their toddler. This is what the normies want. Tyler, I'm with you, brother. I want to see the original attractions. I want to see Mystic Manor come to Disneyland Resort or something dope like that. But the normies, they don't care. What do you think, George?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really, that Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom, I believe, was the final non-IP attraction that was ever to grace on Walt Disney World property, which it came at a time where it was like in the transitional period where non-IP attractions was going extinct and IP attractions were going to be the new shit, so they just made it with Expedition Everest. I still feel like there's going to be some attractions that will not get the IP treatment, possibly unless if they were to make a movie of Expedition Everest and it became a phenomenal sensation at the box office where they might add a type of IP there. But I feel like attractions like, and I could be wrong and I hope not, but I mean, I want to be wrong, excuse me. Like attractions like the Matterhorn, the Haunted Mansion. I mean, even Pirates of the Caribbean got a touch of based off of the IP. But I feel like what was different about Pirates is it was a ride that influenced the movies, which influenced the ride again. It went full circle. So I feel like that's where it became okay, and it didn't really hinder too much of the attraction. They just added some of the characters from the films in it.
Yeah, and Pirates is a very sort of like, you could work with that. Like there's been pirate movies since the beginning of Hollywood. So it's not that hard to make a pirate movie, you know? Haunted Mansion is a very difficult franchise to work with because the attraction is like this weird balance between like scary and funny. And even like the Imagineers had a really hard time with that balance. You had legends like Raleigh, these people that were like legends that were around Walt Disney, Claude Coates or whatever, like they had trouble finding that right balance with this attraction. Do you think these current people are going to be able to find that right balance with the movie? Probably not. If these legends couldn't do it, it's going to be rough with the newbies. I mean, in my opinion, I haven't seen the new Haunted Mansion movie, but you know, again, it's just, I can see why that's a difficult kind of thing to kind of do. So with Pirates, yeah, it's an easy thing to do. A pirate movie, come on. It's like a cowboy Western movie. It's very, very simple. A lot of these movies like a Matterhorn would be very difficult. And you get to the point where you kind of get like off like the point a little bit. Like if you were to make like a Matterhorn movie, like how do you even, at what point does it even is it even a Matterhorn movie anymore? Like you're so off like what, by the time you add all the storylines and all that crap into it, it's almost like, well, is it even a Matterhorn movie anymore? I don't know. It just, yeah.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at with
and
it.
I actually got to see the Haunted Mansion movie, and I have to say it really wasn't that bad. Was it the best thing as white bread? No, you know, but I do love how it plays into some of the traditionalized storyline of the Haunted Mansion. For instance, not to give anything away, but they incorporate both mansions in the movie.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Disneyland and Walt Disney World.
That's pretty cool.
I do love how they incorporate the Hatbox Ghost in the format of the film. So I do appreciate the nods to the classic attraction in the movie. But as you said, OG, there's nothing that you can really go along with it that can say this is going to be a slam banger of a movie, you know?
Yeah, and you're kind of going towards like, I don't know. Like your audience is like theme park nerds, I guess, who would be interested in it. But even like the nerds don't care about it. So it's like, it's a tough one. They've tried the Haunted Mansion thing so many times. It always seems to fall flat. I'm not really sure why they keep going to that well, but they try. And again, I think this movie is flopping at the box office. Yet again, another Haunted Mansion movie flopping. Kiki and Luca here with another comment saying, what do you think about Rachel Zegler bagging on the original Snow White movie and the new Snow White box office chances? Okay, so here's the thing with Rachel Zegler. Okay, I loved her in West Side Story. I will say I absolutely loved her in West Side Story. I thought she was phenomenal. And to be honest with you, she's not a terrible actress. You know what I'm saying? She's really not. But I do think that she's not doing herself any favors by kind of trashing the original film. You have this masterpiece of cinema. Right? This is the first animated film that it was like Walt Disney's passion project, right? It's a bad look to go in there like full bore and like, yeah, this movie, like this is not, you know, she should just not go there. Like do your live action remake of Snow White and just say, look, you know, this is a different take on the story. And it's like, you know, if we're going to do a live action version, we might as well do something different, right? And why make the same movie? All you got to say, Rachel. But once you get into like really trashing the original film and a film that's such a big movie, not just for Disney, but just Hollywood in general, and such a masterpiece. This is like, Rachel, come on. Why are you even going there, right? That's kind of my thought on it. But what do you think, George?
No, I absolutely agree with you. I do enjoy her in West Side Story. I am not a fan of her. And I don't believe that she should censor herself of how she truly feels about the film. If she doesn't like the film, you know, that's her prerogative. But when you are a household name and you're in the public eye and you are promoting a film that is based off of a movie that you are ripping on, and you are promoting said film, it doesn't look good for your image to approach it in the way that she did.
Yeah.
And I feel like not necessarily her career could suffer of it, but definitely the film could, based off of the fact that, you know, if people disagree with her of how she feels about it and how she interpreted that, it can hurt the film box office wise.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And Joseph Michael says here, it's kind of an extension of what we're talking about right now, actually. And again, Joseph, thank you so much, sir, for the super chat. Is it possible that the remakes of Moana, Tangled, etc. will be shelved in the near future, especially if the Snow White remake bombs? It's possible. It's possible. You know, it's I got to do this, man. You know, I'm so shameless, George. Why am I so shameless, dude?
It's you, brother. You just got to.
You know, so Joseph, I just want to say money talks.
Everyone silent. Listen to my money talk.
You know, I have anything in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Money talks, and they if these movies continue to not make money, they will stop making them. I mean, Disney is a business. They are a business. They will only do stuff as long as it makes money. So if it doesn't make money, they're going to stop doing it. So if Snow White bombs, it's a possibility that the Moana and the Tangled stuff gets shelved. So we'll see. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I think Snow White has a real chance, though, of bombing. I think this one isn't looking so hot, y'all. This one's not looking so hot.
And to be fair, I don't think it was really going to do well just because of the track record. It was already on before Rachel made these comments.
Right.
You know, so I mean, it was already not getting too much praise by the audience, to be honest. I just think this didn't help it.
It didn't help. You know, why go in there and instigate, right? Why go in there and get all the wrong headlines and get all the drama? Like, it feels like just stay out of your own way and just sort of like make the movie and then let the movie speak for itself, you know? And then once you get in there with a lot of these like stars and this talent, when they get out there and they sort of try to kind of preach or virtue signal or this, that, and the other, it's just like, you always get yourself in trouble and you're only hurting the movie that you want to do well, you know? So even if the movie is a cultural message that you support, why would you go in there and sort of do that and hinder the chances of it, right? Like, just let the movie speak for itself. Let people go buy the ticket and go see it. When you do this whole thing beforehand, then people don't buy that ticket. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand the mentality behind it, and it keeps happening and happening and happening. I think Bob Iger and Disney's like PR team, they really need to start buckling down on this kind of stuff. You see a lot of this kind of stuff with like, you know, Lucasfilm and this, that, and the other. They really have to start buckling down on the talent and the creatives saying stupid shit on social media and on the camera and whatever, and sabotaging these projects. You know, it's unnecessary. It's absolutely unnecessary. So I don't know. We'll see. But we got the one, the only. Hold on. I'm gonna play. We got Theme Park Casual down here, and I got a casual drop right here.
I don't know. Fly Casual.
We love Theme Park Casual, and follow him, subscribe to him on YouTube. I'm telling you, Theme Park Casual is absolutely crushing it right now. He does in-park vlogs for Disneyland Resort, absolutely crushes it, and then he does Knott's Berry Farm out here in Southern California as well. This guy is on top. He's like on top of his game, like he's standing on top of an Xbox. Okay, this guy is so on game right now. This guy, we love Casual, so definitely follow him on Twitter and subscribe to him. He's freaking awesome.
And when you check out his live videos at Disneyland, if he ever mentions out to the fans watching, you know, what should we get for a snack or what should we get for a dessert? Trust me, it will make his day. Just say, Casual, go get ice cream. This dude, he loves his ice cream.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. I remember watching I think it was a live show. You were actually there with him, I believe. And it was like like 2 weeks ago now, maybe. And it was like 11 o'clock and Casual was like, oh, let's go get ice cream. You guys went to Gibson Girl, I believe.
Yeah, it was literally, it was like almost hitting midnight. We were all tired. We were all like, from the day and what have you. And we were all, saying our goodbyes for the night and what have you. And Casual was just trucking away. He's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm sitting here. And he literally he was still going live while he was enjoying his ice cream. It's like, he wanted to share in the full experience with his viewers. And I appreciate that. I mean, if you're going to go all the way, hey, go balls to the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Just go balls to the wall, and Casual does. He provides great content, and he's a fantastic human being. We love Casual. So Casual here is saying odds on Matt Ouimet coming back to Disney in some capacity. Okay, so I want to set the table a little bit with this one because some people might not be aware of what's going on. So Matt Ouimet was the president of the Disneyland Resort back in like 2005. He was a total fan favorite. This guy went in. He really did all the right moves with the fans. He cleaned up the park and everything right before the 50th anniversary. The 50th was very successful, and a lot of it was because of Matt Ouimet. Okay, and then Matt Ouimet left, and he went over to a few different companies. I think he went to like a hotel company, and then he finally landed at Cedar Fair. Okay, so he's been at Cedar Fair for a long time. News dropped today that Matt Ouimet is leaving Cedar Fair. He's quitting their board of directors, and it's to I believe they said to embark on some new endeavors or what have you, or something like that. So Casual was asking, what do you think the chances are of him coming back to Disney? Actually, Casual, I think the chances are pretty damn high. I think it's very, very suspect that Disney's kind of in a place right now of like transformation. Iger's looking for that Hail Mary, dude. Like he needs everybody he can get, all hands on deck to really make this thing work again. We're seeing it bringing in the
Bruce Vaughn.
Yeah, Bruce Vaughn and the Tom Staggs, Kevin Meyer as advisors, right? So he's trying all these outside. I am telling you right now, there's a very good chance that Matt Ouimet comes back to the company in some capacity. Now, here's the thing: when he was at Disney, though, he was the president of the Disneyland Resort. Matt Ouimet has been a CEO. He's been top dog. He's done very well for himself since he left Disney. So if he's going to come back to Disney, he can't just be running Disneyland Resort. Like I don't think a guy of Ouimet's stature of like what he has on his resume since he left Disney, I don't think he would come back and be like, oh yeah, I'll just be president of the resort. I'll take Daddy Josh's job. That's not going to happen. If he comes back, it's going to be a big job. And I think he would be on that short list. I really do. I think he'd be on that short list for maybe like CEO contention because Ouimet understood the Disney culture. He understood the Disney difference. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Iger is in a position right now that he has to do whatever he can to get not even the company back on its feet, but get the public back in his good graces.
Right.
And I feel like, we all know this. Iger is an image guy. It's all about him, and how he can revolutionize the company and bring everything back, to light, for the company of how much in a rut that they've been, going through, lawsuits and and financial drops and what have you. And I feel like that there are certain people that just know their shit. And Matt Ouimet is one of those people that know how to do their shit. And I feel like that Iger was very telling in the last quarterly earnings call where he just didn't seem himself. He seemed very hostile, very up in arms. He was not a happy camper. And I think reality hit him where it was like, okay, I have to roll up my sleeves and do some dirty work.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's fascinating, man. This is the craziest time right now for Disney. And, the one thing that keeps me kind of going is that every time we've seen, and again, that doesn't mean this is going to happen every single time, but every time we've seen a period of transformation where the company is kind of down and out and has to kind of claw its way back, when they do claw their way back out, it's usually really like the company is going on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying? It's like when animation was like rock bottom. They kicked the animators out of their own studio. They were literally animating and working out of trailers. They didn't even have a building, and they created some of the greatest animation that, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. Sometimes when Disney's down and out, they come back even stronger. And I'm telling you right now, we're kind of in that moment now, and they're recruiting these old timers that are really good, like Matt Ouimet and Tom Staggs. I think we might be we're not there yet, but I think in the next few years, we might see a real golden age again.
And I hope we do. And it really will show that Disney is the true phoenix of how it rises from the ashes and it spreads its wings and flies off into the sunset. But there is a documentary on that notion. If anyone has not seen it, it's called Waking Sleeping Beauty. Definitely check it out, of the struggles and the trials and tribulations of the Renaissance era of Disney animation, and how it was a struggle for them, and how they had to kind of overcome those obstacles, and they did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll see. I think this is a fantastic company. I think they will ultimately be better. From this they'll learn and kind of get better. And again, like I'm an optimist, okay? But it doesn't mean that I don't see that there's problems. Okay, I get that there's problems. I'm not a pixie duster. I'm not a shill. I just understand that, hey, you have a rough patch in life and you get through it. It is what it is. But here, Marty Snyder. And Marty, I just want to thank you, brother. Marty, we love you, man. Thank you so much he's in the chat a lot. We love Marty Snyder.
I got to meet Marty. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Toontown, actually, back in January when we went out for the grand opening for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And so we bumped into him in Toontown before, like, they still had all the construction walls up. It wasn't completed yet, but it was a real treat, and I was so glad and privileged to actually meet him in person.
Yeah, no, I met him too. Great family, good guy. We love Marty. He says, "How did you meet George?" Through his OnlyFans, actually. Kind of surprised. Funny story. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm a huge I'm a huge fan of Don Rickles. I don't know if anyone has known this. Like, I just love his comedy style and everything. So he always had mentioned this, and this had actually happened to OG. It was like, I was just stalking him. He gave me a cookie and I went away.
So funny. So funny. No, it's interesting. I started this channel in 2016. I was just doing at the time, for years, actually. I mean, I was just doing solo videos. I was just recording myself, like, talking about theme parks and all that good stuff, right? And I would do Q&As periodically. And Mr. Falcione over here, he sent me a question, and I answered it. And he was surprised I pronounced his last name Falcione correctly. I'm like, dude, I'm Italian, bro. Come on. Forget about it. Of course I'm going to pronounce your name right. You know what I'm saying? No, but and we just became friends. We became very, very close friends. And we actually, I do believe after this Disney World trip, we actually got closer. We bonded.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we did. I will definitely say. And, it's funny how you gain these, special relationships, like with your friends and everything, and even the community that this channel has given us on this platform. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd actually be connected with all of you in this manner, and sharing these stories with you, and actually relating to, common interests. And it's definitely a blessing. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to give a shout out before we get to the Sam Chat super chat. I just want to give a big shout out to CliffX. CliffX, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Really awesome. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go. Okay, so we got Sam Chat. Okay, so he says, "Hey, OG crew. First question: favorite movie ever? Doesn't have to be Disney. Number 2, overall thoughts on the current state of Star Wars." Oh, man, that's not a controversial topic. Oh, enjoying the content. Okay, so favorite movie ever. Here's the thing, Sam Chat, and this is going to be a really disappointing answer, and I'm really, really sorry. Hopefully, George has a more exciting answer. I don't really have. It's hard because, like, I don't really have like a favorite movie because there's so many movies I love that are like not on the same. They're just too different, right? So, for example, I love Beauty and the Beast. That's one of my favorite all-time favorite Disney animated films. It's a gorgeous masterpiece of a film. It's freaking perfect, right? I love that movie. At the same time, I love Back to the Future, but they're very different movies. I love them both equally, but for different reasons, you know? So it's very, very hard. But I'll give you a list of some movies that I think are freaking amazing. So Beauty and the Beast, animated, absolutely love it. Back to the Future, absolutely love it. This is funny. This is gonna make me seem like such a wimp. I actually love The Notebook, believe it or not. I think that's that movie hit me so hard when I watched that movie for the first time. The Notebook just destroyed me. Absolutely destroyed me. I'm telling you, that movie destroyed me. That movie's really good. What else do I like? I love Frozen. Honestly, I know that movie gets a lot of heat, no pun intended. I do love Frozen. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I don't really have a favorite. I mean, I can appreciate a good movie, and every movie's sort of different. It's like I love them for different reasons. When people ask me, Sam, like, what's your favorite Disney attraction? I'm the same way. Like, how do I answer that? Because I love the Indiana Jones adventure. It's dope. It's this epic kind of adventure through like this ancient temple, right? At the same time, though, I love to go around the corner and just check out the Tiki Room, which is a much more modest experience.
I think the easiest answer to kind of save you time as far as the attractions, OG, just say, I love everything but Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that and Mission Space, which I won't even touch that one. I'm claustrophobic.
I won't touch that one. I won't touch it. I did it once, and once was enough for me.
Yeah. No, I'm not feeling that at all. What do you think? Favorite movie ever, George?
Actually, believe it or not, I'm with you, OG. I don't have just one movie that I could say, okay, because I'm a cinema kind of guy. I watch all kinds of films that you don't really necessarily think a 33-year-old Italiano from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania would actually get into, but I am. I'm kind of our good mutual friend Mindy. She calls me an old soul. Like I'm an old soul in a young person's body because I like a lot of like old school stuff. But I'm with you. My favorite animated film of all time is Beauty and the Beast, hands down. Crisp animation. It's basically you're like watching a live Broadway musical in an animated form. I mean, it's phenomenal. Other movies that I enjoy, The Godfather, primarily The Godfather Part 2. I enjoy The Godfather Part 2 because it really signifies family. And, I'm big on family, but of course I'm an Italiano, so I mean, like it's close to my roots.
Speaking of, hey, look, since we got the Italian theme going on, the Godfather, I think it's appropriate if I play our favorite Italian drop.
Of course.
Here we go.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say that's the bad guy.
There we go. A little Scarface for you.
Scarface, and actually, that's another film that I actually enjoy. That movie, Al Pacino just like knocked it out of the ballpark. And believe it or not, I love the music. Like you don't really think of, when you think of Scarface, you don't think, oh, the movie soundtrack. Like, but it's like there's some music in there that I actually enjoy because it actually is played on the radio for Grand Theft Auto 3.
That's great. No, that movie that game is so good. I haven't played it in a long time, but I used to just I would just go crazy.
And here's a piece of factual trivia that maybe not a lot of people know. The song Shake It Up that's played in the Scarface soundtrack is sung by Elizabeth Daily or E.G. Daily. And a lot of people don't know her as Elizabeth Daily, but a lot of people may know her as the voice of Tommy Pickles from the Rugrats.
Oh, little Tommy Pickles. Oh,
yes.
That's great. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Actually, a fun fact, since we're doing an Ask Us Anything, fun fact, I actually, when I was in my younger years, I actually, this was like pre-computer animation, so you know how old I am. But I actually wanted to be an animator for the longest time. So I actually interned at Nickelodeon Studios. So I got to work on movies like The Angry Beavers. It sounds dirtier than it is, but
No, here's the thing. I know the Angry Beavers. I grew up with that. See, now I can't unsee that shit now,
OG. Let's move on.
But one other thing. See, I can't now. See, I'm all flustered. Another film is a coming of age story. I believe it came out in 1986, and yeah, that was before my time. But it's a great movie. Stand By Me.
Oh, nice.
The film by Rob Reiner, Will Wheaton from the Big Bang Theory, River Phoenix, the incredible River Phoenix.
Yes.
So sorry that we lost him at an early age. He was a phenomenal actor. I mean, he was, and not even just as an actor, but just as a human being. You know, for animal rights activist and everything. He was just a very sweet soul, and actually I was a huge fan of his. So, but I mean, if you haven't seen the movie Stand By Me, definitely check it out. It's a great movie.
Absolutely. And actually we have a show here on the channel, Story Geeks, with Jay Shearer, and he covered a bunch of the episodes from the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles from the 90s. Check it out. It's on the channel, and River Phoenix is part of that show. And it's
nice.
It's a great show from the 90s, old school, but River Phoenix is absolutely phenomenal in it. But number 2 from Sam Chat is overall thoughts on the current state of Star Wars. Man, Star Wars is in a bad spot right now. I gotta be honest. Like, I haven't seen Ahsoka yet, and I probably should watch that because we're actually doing a show on Ahsoka tomorrow.
We are doing a show, and I didn't watch an episode yet. I got to crunch my homework tonight.
We got some crunching to do tonight, but I think Star Wars is in a bad place right now, Sam. I mean, there's pieces of goodness here and there. Like, I hear Ahsoka's really good, but I just think that it needs to get its mojo back. I think they really, again, this is controversial, but I think they need to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. I think they need to just get someone in there that's new, fresh. I've been advocating for it to be maybe like Jon Favreau. But look, if it's not Jon Favreau, you want to pick somebody else, that's fine. I just think you need to get someone else in there. I just think that she's kind of worn out her welcome, and I think that it's sort of getting to the point where it's like her being there is sort of destroying the brand, kind of similar to like what Bob Chapek was kind of doing at Disney, right? And I was and we both were actually very fair to Bob Chapek, because I don't think he was the big bad, one-dimensional bad guy, mustache twirling villain that a lot of fans made him out to be. But there's no denying that he sort of put a bad taste in fans' mouth, right? Once he left, there was almost like this Ewok Endor celebration. The energy in the room changed, right? Now that's changing again right now. I get it. But at the time, it was like the victory celebration when he left, right? With the fandom. I think with Lucasfilm, I think they sort of would have that same moment. If she left, I think the fandom would sort of get excited again to get someone else in there and sort of look at things with new eyes and fresh blood. I think you need to get someone in there and really kind of look at all the projects and kind of get things in order. I think another problem too is that they just, there's a lot of projects that have been announced and then later on they're canceled. There's been a lot of trust that's been broken with the fandom. And I think that's detrimental, really detrimental, because now when they announce a project, fans are like, oh yeah, sure, that's going to fucking happen, because every other project you announce either gets delayed or canceled, right? So she's broken trust. The product has been real hit and miss. You just need to get someone else in there. I think once you get someone else in there, I think the energy in the room will change like it did when Chapek left. But what do you think, George? You a big Kathleen Kennedy fan, or you think it's time for a change?
Definitely it's time for a change. I think time has really shown that, unfortunately, she overstayed her welcome. There's just a lot of issues going on internally at Lucasfilm that, needs to be addressed, needs to be worked out. And I feel like the longer that she's there, the deeper the company, as far as Lucasfilm goes deeper down into that rabbit hole, and it's going to be much harder for them to dig out of it if they don't get control over it, because this is a franchise that is beloved since the 70s. Yeah. And you have these fans that are diehard Star Wars fans. Right. There are people who become Star Wars fans because they are Disney fans, but you have the traditional Star Wars fans that they will they will tell you like it is if it is not going so well. And right now it is not going so well. Yeah. So I do feel like they need some new blood, kind of go in there, shake some things up. And I hopefully, because I still enjoy Star Wars, you know, despite that there may be, you know, a lot of shows that are getting canceled and movies that are getting canceled and projects getting canceled. I still enjoy the Star Wars lore, so to speak. And I do want to see the best for it.
And here's the thing. I'm okay. This is a real controversial thing. Anything Star Wars is going to get you in trouble. So I'm just going to go with it. Okay. People that say Star Wars is dead, it's not dead. Like, people make a lot of money on YouTube talking about Star Wars still. Now, here's the thing. If there's a franchise that's irrelevant, I'm talking like irrelevant, okay? I'm talking like Popeye, okay? You're not making that moolah on AdSense talking about it on you. I guarantee you, content creators, go ahead and make a Popeye video, see how many views you get, okay? You're not going to get the numbers, okay? You're just not. So the fact that there's like this whole thing on YouTube, whether it's negative or not, about Star Wars and trashing Star Wars, it shows you that the brand is still alive and well. It's just that fans want better Star Wars, and that's all it is. It's not that Star Wars is dead. People love Star Wars. They just want better Star Wars. Yes. And the fact that people are still talking about, still arguing and fighting on Twitter and what have you about Star Wars shows you how relevant it really is. Because no one's on Twitter, no one's on X arguing about Popeye. No one's on Twitter or X talking about Felix the Cat, arguing about Felix the Cat, or those are irrelevant franchises. Star Wars is not irrelevant. They just it needs a shot in the arm. It needs people to get excited. It needs good content. That's all it needs, you know? It's very similar to Disney animation. You know, in the 80s, Disney was going through it. The movies were not doing anything. It wasn't that people fell out of love with Disney. People still loved Disney and what Disney was, but they needed something to embrace, to support. So they didn't get that until The Little Mermaid, you know? And then when that was released, then, okay, everyone flocked to it, then the Beauty and the Beast and what have you. So I think that it's the same idea. You just got to get the right product out there, and I think it'll do very, very well. And we saw it even recently with Mandalorian. If you do it right, like season 1 of Mando was a pop culture phenomenon. Okay, that crushed, absolutely crushed. And I think that if you just hit the right notes, it'll be fine. Star Wars is not dead. Long live Star Wars.
And Mandalorian is actually a great example of what it takes. That one little thing can create a franchise within a franchise. Right. So whether or not with Mandalorian season 4 or a Mandalorian movie, and it could be a total flop, knock on wood, it's not going to be. But I'm just saying, it just hypothetically, if it does, people are still going to love the Mandalorian franchise within Star Wars. Grogu, you got baby Grogu right behind you, OG. He's taking a life of his own. Like, they got Grogu shirts, the merchandise, dolls. It's like, so no matter what, whether an episode or two can flop or not, it's when you have a good franchise, or you have a good product, or you have a good character or a great storyline, roll with it. Because if it works, it'll just carry you all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000%. BJ Vincent, friend of the channel. BJ, thank you so much for the $5 holla. Thank you so much, sir. It says here, taking a cue from Tokyo Disney's Space Mountain, if you were to redesign a Disney theme park ride, what would it be and how would you redesign? Oh man, this is, okay, here's my thing. And this is, it might be controversial, maybe not. I always felt like Peter Pan at Disneyland was an underwhelming attraction for such a wondrous IP. Like, I think that those movies like Peter Pan is so quintessential Disney. It's like that. It's just that pure kind of like that childhood magic, that pixie dust, the you can fly, like it's just so Disney. And then you have this little ride. It's like you get in these dinky little pirate ships, and it's like, you're flying through. I think that franchise deserves better. And it's going to get it, believe me, in Tokyo. Speaking of Tokyo, the Neverland thing looks freaking amazing over there in Japan. I want to see something like that over here in California. I want to see something like that. I know there's a space issue and all that and yada, yada, yada. But with Disneyland Forward, maybe we can get a better Peter Pan attraction. I just think that what that IP encompasses in terms of the Disney brand and how linked it is to Disney as a company. Like, it's not just the movie. It's like that is like almost like a symbol of the company, very similar like what Pinocchio is with When You Wish Upon a Star and all that stuff. Peter Pan's a very important movie. And it's almost like the brand of the whole company. I would like to see something a little more ambitious for Peter Pan. And so I would like to see whatever they're getting in Tokyo, because I haven't even been on it. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Bring that over here to California, and do it in Florida too. But that's what I would do. That's the ride I think needs it. I mean, the franchise is bigger than the attraction. Is basically in a nutshell. Is what I'm trying to say. What do you think, George?
As far as for me, I do agree with you with Peter Pan's Flight. I do enjoy the attraction, but I feel like it's a bit outdated in the sense of like with the ride system, and it feels like there could be so much more to it.
Right.
The audio is very, you could tell it's old. I would love to see it refreshed and new. As you had mentioned, like how Tokyo is doing their Neverland, that looks so phenomenal of what they are doing with Fantasy Springs over there. I cannot wait to go over and experience that. I am literally waiting for that to open so I could experience that along with Tokyo Disneyland. One of the attractions for me wouldn't necessarily keep the same IP, but keep the type of ride system, but retheme it to a different movie. I had mentioned this on the channel before, and I don't think a lot of people are going to like this, but it's over at DCA. Okay. And I feel like that the Little Mermaid attraction should be rethemed to Coco.
That's interesting.
For me, and I get it because it's like the pier, seaside shore, and The Little Mermaid is a beloved film. It really is. Yeah. But however, I love the songs. I love it, but there are certain aspects of that ride that just really bother me. For instance, the animatronics of Ariel. I'm sorry, folks. She looks like Tiffany from The Bride of Chucky. I'm sorry, she does. The face is like unrecognizable to Ariel. A lot of the times her facial functions don't work. It almost looks like she has lockjaw half the time. And then our friend Mindy brought this to my attention that at the very end scene of where her and Eric are getting married, the waist, her torso and waistline do not match up with her head. It's like the body and the head just doesn't match up correctly. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, you're right. This is horrible. And of what they promised us, what the original attraction was going to be, I wanted to see the battle with Ariel and Prince Eric with Ursula when she takes the Triton and she makes herself oversized and she makes all the rain and the wind and everything. It felt like the ending was very lackluster for me. It was okay, but yeah. I feel like transitioning that into Coco is you have enough building room that you can retell the story of Coco. Yeah. It fits in well with Pixar Pier because it's a Pixar brand film. And it also fits into DCA because DCA is all about California, and California represents the Hispanic and Mexican Latin culture. It fits in well. And I'm a huge fan of Coco. It's actually my number one Pixar film of all time.
Yeah, I love your idea of bringing a Coco dark ride to DCA. I mean, I am all in on that. I personally would rather see it maybe in like an expansion area where you can do like a little Mexican village, like kind of like a New Orleans Square, but like a Mexican village version of that, where like the little tiny little pathways and stuff. I think it'd be really cool with like these little shops and what have you. I prefer that, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily mind them retheming the Little Mermaid attraction at DCA. I would just want, if they do that, right? Hopefully they can put a proper mermaid attraction, maybe at Disneyland, in Fantasyland. If they do that, oh, that's perfect. That's freaking perfect. I just want some attraction for mermaid because I'm a huge Howard Ashman shill. I love Howard Ashman. I love what he did for the company. And man, that's the only part about that hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And I do agree with you. And that's why I felt like The Little Mermaid never really fit into DCA. I would have preferred to see that over at Disneyland. That would have fit in well in Fantasyland. And actually, as far as like a Mexican type village with the Coco attraction, Paradise Gardens, just turn that whole entire section into just like a Coco themed neighborhood, because apparently they are all into this neighborhood thing. So that could have been like the neighborhood right off of Inside Out.
No, 100%, 100%. Kiki and Luca here with a $5 holla. Thank you so much, Kiki and Luca. We do appreciate you as always. We love you, Kiki and Luca. And they are asking, the worst thing is when people fart in line. What do? Smell and bear it? Try to move to a different location?
Okay,
oh, man.
I just have to say, Kiki and Luca, now you're speaking my language. Now we're getting into the real questions here.
Yes, yes. What do? This is a tough one. I'm not going to just sit there and smell someone's like shit. They're shit particles. I'm not doing that. So yes, I'm moving. Like I'll move like within the line, you know, I'll move away from it. I'm not no ride is worth inhaling that. Like I don't know. Shit.
No pun intended.
Yeah, like what do you think?
If it was Cosmic Rewind, OG, you'd get sick before you even step foot on the ride.
Oh man, I'm telling you, no ride is worth inhaling that. I'm sorry, you know, like no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm
bask in
moving.
the ambience.
Exactly. Hopefully, Kiki, it happens in an area that's outside. Hopefully, if it's indoors, man, God help you if you're like strapped in and and you're on mission space. I'm telling you, man. Woo. All right, let's move on to the next one. Kosher Crash is asking, how different do you think the Walt Disney Company would have been if Walt's family still had control? See, this is an interesting question, Kosher. A lot of people assume that, oh, well, you know, just give it to the family. They'll know what to do. Yeah. Not necessarily. Have you heard Abigail Disney? She's not going to know what to do. She's not going to know what to do. Now, Ron Miller was okay, but he wasn't Michael Eisner and Frank Wells. And he wasn't blood, but he was son-in-law, right? I believe.
Son-in-law. Yeah, he was married to Diane.
Right. So he was family, but he didn't do a great job either. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't great, and he was technically family. It's hard to say. I mean, from what I've seen, aside from Walt himself and Roy, a lot of the family has not really performed, you know, Ron Miller, what have you. I don't really care if they have the bloodline of Walt. I really don't. I'd rather the person understand Disney and understand the culture and the product and know what to do than have it just be like, well, this person's related, you know? Right. So Michael Eisner and Frank Wells were not related, but they understood it. We got the amazing Renaissance era in animation. We got the incredible Indiana Jones Adventure. Walt Disney World got a ton of stuff. The expansion was out of control with Michael Eisner. I'd rather just have someone who understands what Disney means than have someone who's technically blood. I don't care.
I'll even go a step further. I can't stand when they say, oh, if they're already in the company, we have to keep it in the company. As you had mentioned, OG, Eisner and Wells, neither one of them was already in the company before they became partnered for CEO, you know, or, you know, they worked in Paramount and Warner Brothers, you know, so again, you can be an outside source and still know what the hell you're doing. That's all we care about. If you know what you're doing, that's all we want to see.
That's all we want to see. And Walt Disney consistently went with those outsiders. The Sherman brothers weren't like Walt Disney's like you know, son-in-laws or anything like that. The Sherman brothers were outsiders. He brought them in and they knew what they were doing. They understood Disney. Howard Ashman, who we just mentioned a second ago, was not a Disney you know, kid or relative or whatever. And he understood Disney though, you know? So yeah, I don't really think you have to be a Disney to get the Disney culture. You just got to get someone in there who understands what it means, you know? And it's tough. It's not easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy, but look, I'm telling you right now, okay. If you were to take Abigail Disney, who is technically related, and you were to make her the CEO, the company would not last a year. I am telling you that right now. The company would not last a year if Abigail Disney ran that company. She is an activist first and everything else second. And there's nothing wrong with that. She's do your thing, Abigail. Do you. Absolutely. But she's not equipped to run this company, despite the fact that her last name is Disney. So I really don't care what your last name is. I'm more concerned about what's up here. And basically is what I'm trying to say. So, I know that sounded really toxic, but okay, let's move on. John McKinney with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, John McKinney. John, he is asking, which Disney villain would be easier to make sympathetic? Scar from Lion King or Judge Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame? I say Scar. Frollo's too narcissistic and has a massive ego. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. You could, probably Scar, because even George was saying like he felt bad for Scar. Yeah. I don't know, but do we need to make them sympathetic? Like, can't we just have a baddie? Like, just a baddie, like for no reason. They're just bad because they're bad. Like, I don't know. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I agree. As much as I said, Scar, just because of his backstory of what they created, that's what made me feel kind of bad for him. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, why'd they have to give us this backstory? Why couldn't he just be an evil, grungy lion that he just wanted to be king so bad that he was willing to kill his brother and nephew and take over the Pride Lands, you know? But they gave us that backstory, so I have, I feel a little bit sympathetic. Yeah, I guess out of the two, I would say Scar. But yeah, I just love a good villain. I love a good antagonist that is just there. They're evil because they're evil, and and that's how I always appreciated Maleficent, because she truly is the mistress of all evil. I know they kind of changed her backstory a little bit with the live action Maleficent films, starring Angelina Jolie. But if you go back to the 1959 animated film Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent just wanted to kill Aurora because she wanted to. She just felt like it. It's like, I wasn't invited to the party. All right, well, she's gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. Now we have a very special guest. We mentioned earlier, but Cliff X in the house saying, "Evening, folks." Cliff X, thank you so much for joining us. I have a special drop welcoming you to the channel, to the chat. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to all who come to this happy place, welcome to Orange Grove 55.
Yes, welcome to OG55 and Theme Park Casual. Big fan of Cliff X. Go ahead and check Cliff X out on YouTube for sure. We have another message here from Starship 824 asking, you think that Wonders Journeys will come back in 2024, or will they bring back another show like Remember or the dreaded Mickey's Mix Tragic? Okay, here's the thing. A couple things. Christopher Lenertz, who actually follows me on Twitter now, which I'm actually really excited about. I sent a message to George, like, Christopher Lenertz is following me. Oh my God. A few days ago, he's a songwriter for Wondrous Journeys. Okay. So he was on Twitter today saying that the show is gone for now. Take that as however you want to take that. For me, it seems like it's going away maybe for the holidays. After January, it'll probably come back. So Wondrous Journeys is a master class in how to do Disney fireworks shows. I mean, it's an absolute gorgeous, perfect show in so many ways. There's so many feels. It's just amazing. So I do think it will come back in 2024, probably early 2024. It seemed like Christopher Lenertz seemed like it was going to come back. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I definitely feel like, he kind of specified that on his tweet, for now, so that's basically saying, it will make a triumphant return, which I feel like it's well-deserved, because Wondrous Journeys is a phenomenal fireworks show. It hits all the feels. I love the music. I love the storyline of how it flows. And also, unfortunately, another show that Christopher Lenertz was part of, Rogers the Musical at the Hyperion, had its final curtain call, so to speak, on yesterday, I believe. And I have to say, I have seen the show twice, and I have a bigger appreciation for that show. It's very simple. It's not like my all-time favorite show, but the music in it, thanks to Mr. Lenertz, it's phenomenal. Especially one song in particular, where Steve Rogers meets back up with his older self on the park bench, and they have like a duet song. I believe it is titled At the End of the Line. It just hits a certain meaning to, what endings could be rewritten.
Yes.
And you're only in control of your own destiny and how you want it to pan out. And that hit me in a certain way. And as I said, the more I've seen that show, the bigger appreciation I have. And I'm a huge Christopher Lenertz fan, just for the notion of his music and what he brings to the story, and for which he doesn't follow me yet. As of yet, speaking of him, not as of yet, I would like for him to follow me, but he has liked several of my tweets regarding Rogers the Musical. So I greatly appreciate that.
There you go. It is your progress, though. It's the, liking the tweets, and then eventually it leads to that follow, right?
Yes.
So you're almost there, George. You're almost there. Let's do it. Let's do it. Christopher Lenertz, if you're watching this, follow George. He's awesome. He's good people.
Yes. And also, Christopher Lenertz, if you're watching, we would love to have you on the channel. We would love to talk to you and pick your brain. And you're phenomenal.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And then Michael Ebba here says, hi, all. Just got on. How do you guys think that the writers and actor strike is going to affect Disney and how Bob will navigate a ship? Geez. Like Iger needed this like a hole in the head. Like, this is just the worst. It's going to affect it. Because here's the thing. Because it slows the content pipeline down. And they're already slowing it down because they're focusing on quality over quantity. And that's the right move, Bob. I get it. There was a lot of crap that was released on Disney Plus, She-Hulk, sorry. But there was too much of it. And now you got to rein it back and make sure that, hey, we'll have less, but we'll just do more quality stuff, right? Okay, that's fine. But the problem is now you're already slowing it down, and now you have a writer strike on top of that. So now you're really slowing it down. So now what's the incentive to get a Disney Plus? Because it's like there's nothing new. It's going to come to a screeching halt. So it's going to absolutely affect how he's navigating this ship. I think it's going to be a real problem for him, to be honest with you. But look, it's not looking good for Iger right now. It really is not. Like, he is going through it. And it's been thing after thing after thing. And now they got this charter carriage drama too with the cable and all that. So no, he's got some challenges, man. I wouldn't want to be Bob Iger right now. I mean, well, yeah, maybe. I mean, in terms of the bank account, but like everything else, no. What do you think, George?
I think his position as CEO right now is kind of bleak at the moment, because he has some obstacles he has to go through, and he has some challenges. So, and this with the writer strike just adds another dart to the dartboard that he has to overcome. And I agree with you. I think as far as like having the CEO salary in my bank account would be great right now, but the responsibilities of what it takes to get said salary, despite that, I would love my shot at running Disney. Because we all think of Disney as Disney, we're all nerds here, but there is a corporate side to it. There is a behind the scenes side to it. And it's not as easy as a lot of people think to say, oh yeah, just do this, just do that. There's a lot of red and yellow tape, and, it's unfortunate, but, again, I'm still optimistic Disney will come out on top of all this.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. And if not, then we just get bought up by Apple, right? And hey, we have Tim Cook, right? And that'll get the woke out, right, George?
Yeah. Clean house.
Yeah, exactly, right? Okay, so we got our friend Miss Mindy. Mindy, thank you so much for joining us. Mindy says you learn who people really are when you spend 72 hours with them. Oh, you do. You definitely learn. Learn that's facts right there. If you ever want to learn who someone is, you just spend 72 hours with them, and you'll know. You'll know. Marty Snyder here says, when is George moving out here? Can't wait to see him in the park. George, Take it away, brother.
Yeah, so I'm actually in the midst of fleshing out all the details. It shouldn't be too much longer. I don't want to put a specific date on it, but I mean it's definitely sooner than later, and I'm very excited about it. It's a new future endeavor of mine. I did not think at all that I would ever be moving out to California, but just this last trip has showed me a lot of things just within myself, and it just seems like I just keep on turning to California for some bizarre reason. OG, I have no idea why. It must be the water.
Yeah, I think it might be. It might be.
But yeah, so just being able to go to the parks, and just living that California dream, sun, surf, sand, the palm trees, everybody that's on the West Coast. I have more friends out in the West Coast, and Marty, you're definitely one of them. So, I mean, it's going to be awesome to be able to be closer to you guys and hang out at the parks, and it's going to be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Marty here continues with the $5 super chat saying, I love you both. Thank you for the entertainment. My guys, thank you, Marty. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. And Mr. J Drunk 3PO says, yo, OG, I miss you, man. We miss you too, Jay. Actually, you know what? We just did a video the other day with Wicked Virtue, a mutual friend of ours. And we were talking, I want to get you on the channel, Jay. I want to talk theme parks with you. I want to talk Star Wars, whatever, man. Like, let's get you, I'll shoot you a DM. Let's talk and let's get you on the channel. I know you're busy with the novel and everything, but yeah, hopefully soon. But George, any comments in regards to Mr. Drunk 3PO?
It's Drunk 3PO. I mean, how can you go wrong? It's so glad to have you in the chat, and we definitely would love to have you on the channel and just kind of pick your brain and have some in-depth conversations like we're doing now. I think it would be a great time. So you're always welcome on the OG55 channel.
Yes, we love Drunk 3PO. He is a national treasure. He is awesome. Check him out on Twitter. A fantastic follow. Also check him out on YouTube. He's also part of Geeks and Gamers. So just show him some love, man. We love Jay. We absolutely love Jay. And then we got right here, we got Brandon Krish. Says, chances of a Pixar Pier expansion. When will it happen? I don't know, Brandon. I just wish they would fix what's there now. Let's worry about that before we expand. What do you think, George?
I mean, OG, you love those Pixar Pier sightlines. I mean, it's like, gosh. I feel like here's my thing with the pier. Unfortunately, I really don't think there's too much for them to be able to fix it, because when they first built DCA and it opened back in 2001, it's in a position where unless that you can actually expand out from behind the pier, which unfortunately you can't, because that's where I believe Catella is, where the convention center is, and there's other hotels there. So if they were to expand out that way, there's nothing really more that they can do. It's just going to be the pier that it is. And I feel to expand, I mean, chances are Pixar is probably going to be the route that they're going to go with, being that they are changing the Paradise Pier Hotel to the Pixar what is it? Pixar Place Hotel? I don't know. There's like so many names for this thing. I mean, I don't know how temporary or permanent that hotel is going to be. I just say demolish the whole damn thing, layer and flatten it out, and just expand it into the park, or build up a newer hotel that can intertwine within DCA, sort of like how they do with Grand Cali, you know, for Grizzly Peak. You know, that's what I would do. But I mean, chances of it being Pixar, I think it's probably going to be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's going to stay Pixar.
Yeah.
It's going to stay Pixar. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not even against it being Pixar Pier. Fine. Okay, that's cool, whatever. I just want them to go in there and like sort of fix the problem areas. It's always, I'm going to sound like such a, like just the worst fanboy ever when I say this, okay?
It hasn't stopped you before.
Yeah, it doesn't stop me before, right? I'm just a dirty fanboy. No, I hate the sightline issues. I hate it. And people think like, oh man, OG, you're so hard on Universal. I was hard on Universal with the Super Nintendo World sightlines. But I'm the same with Disney, believe me. Like, I cannot stand the fact that you can walk down the entrance of the Pixar Pier and see the Anaheim Convention Center in the background. That drives me crazy. I hate that, and I feel like such a nerd about that, but it bothers me, I want them to address that. I don't know how they can address that, but they need to address that. I think they need to address the fun wheel too. Like, it's weird to have Mickey on the front, but it's Pixar Pier, but you got Mickey on the front and then you have Pixar on the back of the Ferris wheel. That's a weird thing. They didn't really think that out. Address that. There's just issues with that pier. They got to address all that before they even consider expanding it. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, the new San Francisco area looks pretty decent. It's not perfect. It looks pretty decent. I wish they would just take a little bit of money and kind of go in there for Pixar Pier and sort of give it like a little bit of a refresh. Maybe clean up the Incredicoaster. You can do some things. It's not a terrible theme. You just got to go in there and kind of spruce up some areas. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I think everything's kind of on hold right now because of the Disneyland Forward. I think is pretty much what's holding that up. Let me see here. Give me just a moment. Yes, I am Mr. Casual. I'm absolutely fanboying out. And Mr. John McKinney with a $10 holla. Thank you so much, Mr. McKinney. What makes Judge Frollo unique from most Disney villains is that he thinks what he's doing is right and sees himself as a good person, and anyone who opposes him is wicked. Hope to see him in Villains Land. Yeah, well, actually, most evil people think what they're doing is right. I mean, that's honestly the truth. Like, a lot of evil people think like they're right, unfortunately. So yeah, sadly, that is what is the case. Mr. Drunk 3PO, I'm ready. Let's do it. Love the channel. Drunk 3PO, we love you too. I will shoot you a DM. We will have you on very soon, brother. Excited. Want to talk parks with you. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. You see here, Mr. Cliffick says here, any word on new Epcot show, October 1 premiere? George, you're the Florida guy. Have you heard anything about that?
As of right now, as far as I know, there haven't been any details of what this show is going to be. I do know that there was some photos that were shown where they were putting out newer barges, God help us all, out into the Showcase Lagoon for this show. Hopefully these are not like the Harmonious barges where it's like they sit out there permanently. So if they're going to use these barges, I hope that they have found a way to maneuver them in and out of the lagoon. Speaking of sightlines, because that was just horrible with these big old giant turds just sitting in Showcase Lagoon. It's like, I did not like them whatsoever. But as far as the new show, I haven't heard anything as of late. If anyone has, definitely comment in the comments, but I haven't heard anything. But I mean, yeah, Showcase, I'm with you. Illuminations worked, and I'm the type of person that if it's not broken, don't fix it. I think Illumination signifies of what Epcot stands for and what World Showcase stands for. It was a phenomenal show. I hated to see it when it left. And if they were to bring it back, or at least bring back a variation of it, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Theme Park Casual here says, now this is a controversial topic here. Okay, so Casual is bringing out the controversy tonight. Okay, so Pixar isn't a theme. This is interesting. So Pixar's a studio, right? So Disney loves to do this. They love to put the Pixar Pier, Pixar Hotel, and use it as a theme. Is it a theme? And this is the thing. I'm kind of not sure, because here's the thing. Here's my kind of mindset. If Pixar isn't a theme, then is Nintendo a theme? Can we have Super Nintendo World then? Because that's technically the same idea. It's a video game studio company. Like Pixar is a movie studio company, right? Can you have, like, neither one are themes then, really? If that's going to be the standard, I think it can be a theme, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I'm iffy on it. I see what you're saying, Casual. I see what you're saying, but I can honestly see the other side as well. What do you think, George?
Yeah, actually, I've never had taken the time to really stop and think about it, but I mean, it does kind of make sense. I do think that Pixar is more of a name brand, because it's a working animated studio. Whereas like an overall theme is like you choose a theme where you take the lands like at Disneyland or Magic Kingdom, Tomorrowland, it's all about the future of tomorrow. Fantasyland, it's based off of just not one particular studio or IP, but just all like fairy tale storybook type of IPs. Frontierland, like the Old West and type of thing, like those are themed lands. Like, so yeah, when you kind of dive into where it's just Pixar related IP as part of the franchise, so it kind of goes on that slippery slope of a borderline of, is it a theme? Is it not? Casual, you open up a Pandora's box here.
I'm telling you, and this has been the age-old question. I remember this in 2018. In 2018, I remember this being the topic of Twitter, of Diz Twitter, is Pixar a theme? And I can see it both ways. I can see what Casual is saying. I can see it's not a theme. It's a studio. Because all these, it's not like an interconnected universe like Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? These are individual movies, which actually kind of plays to the Nintendo thing, actually, because Nintendo is interconnected because you have the Super Smash Brothers. So it's like, maybe Nintendo is a theme. So I don't know. It's too late for me to think this hard, Casual. So we'll move on to our next one. Owen here says, what are your thoughts on the dragon not returning to Fantasmic? Well, here's the thing. The dragon, from what I understand, it's not returning right now. They're gonna reimagine the show to sort of have no dragon. I don't know, and I don't think anyone really knows if that's a permanent solution, though. I think that they want to get the show up and running without the dragon. You got to understand, like, this dragon is going to take probably a couple years to build, so they can't have no Fantasmic for 2 years. They have to have some sort of like alternative, like B mode or whatever, until they get a new dragon. So I'm not convinced we're not getting a dragon. I think that we probably will. I just think that right now they're going to have to reimagine it to sort of not have the dragon while they build the new one. That's just kind of where I'm at. And actually, Marty here says, dragon is being rethought right now. Okay, so yeah, Marty has talked to people in the know. I won't get into details, but and he's saying that it is being rethought. So yeah, it looks like it's being worked on. It's just right now they can't. They don't want the show to be dark for that long. So what do you think, George?
Yeah, I feel like they're going to need Fantasmic up and running. So they're going to do anything in their power to at least put on a performance nightly, whether or not it incorporates a dragon right away or not, or a different variation or what have you. But it's very refreshing to hear that if they really are rebuilding a dragon or something where they will not have an issue like this ever again, right. But I would love to see the dragon return. And right now I'm just at the point I would love to see Fantasmic return, because yes, it brings so much life to Disneyland Park, and it's my favorite out of the two, compared to Hollywood Studios' Fantasmic. So too. I would just love to see Fantasmic return. Dragon or no dragon right now.
Yeah, and look, for the first time, I went to Walt Disney World. I checked out that their Fantasmic for the first time, and look, each Fantasmic has its like strengths and weaknesses. For Disneyland, for me personally, I love the organic feel of it. Like, I love the feel of like when it takes place in the park. So there's elements of the theme park that are utilized in the show. So it feels very organic. Like this thing is erupting in this theme park that you were just walking on Tom Sawyer Island like a few hours ago, and now there's a huge show going on there. It just feels very organic. The Florida version feels like a show. Like you walk into the amphitheater, you sit down on bleachers. It's very much a show. From the beginning, they let you know it's a show. But I will say this, the Florida version, I was really, really surprised at the energy before the show. The energy before that Florida version was through the roof. They were playing music. People were doing the wave. I don't know if that's a normal thing or whatnot.
Oh, that's a normal thing. Since the first time I've seen Fantasmic at Walt Disney World, the first time I've seen it was back in 2000. And it was even more hyped up back then. They used to bring out these oversized beach balls, and they used to pop, let them run all the way down the amphitheater where people were just like throwing the beach balls and bouncing it off to one another. I mean, it was like one big giant block party.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that energy, man. Like I was really impressed by that. And the show itself was good. It was good. I think Disneyland's show is overall better, but I enjoyed the Fantasmic over there and the amphitheater, and especially leading up to it, like that with all the trees. It's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I really I thought that Hollywood Studios was better than it was a better park than I was expecting going into it. Much better. There was a lot more theming than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more sound stages, and what I got was a lot more old school Hollywood, and I dug the hell out of that.
Yeah,
and
you
I love
did.
that.
You really did.
I did. I liked it. I was like, this is a pretty cool park. And then that 50s primetime thing, and then the waitress kept calling me Callie or California.
Yeah, she was like, hey, what do you want, Callie?
She was great. She was absolutely phenomenal. That park is pretty cool. And the Indiana Jones thing, it was pretty awesome, man. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So Marty Snyder here says, ask us anything. When did you get your first annual pass? I have been a pass holder for a very long time, Marty.
Sorry, there's that's our hype train.
Okay, so since we have the hype train.
Oh no! I must have hit that track switch!
There we go. So Marty, I've had an annual pass for a very long time. I got my first annual pass in 1998. Jesus, I'm aging myself like crazy. 1998, I got my first annual pass. I only had it for like a year because I was kind of going through like I was like graduating high school and stuff. So I was more into like girls and stuff. Not so much did I guess.
And before you finish that, OG, let's give them a little taste of of what you are into. Like, come on, you got to play something of your Blackpink. Go ahead, go.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's play Blackpink. Let's play a little Blackpink. Oh, hold on, let's play a little Blackpink. Oh shit. Oh man, I don't have a file.
Oh jeez, Louise.
Orange Grove 55.
It's the revolution.
There you go.
I wasn't like, I was into Disney obviously at the time, but like I was kind of going through like my typical high school stuff. So I only had it for like a year, and then I took a little bit of a break, and then I got a like a serious girlfriend in like the early 2000s, and then we ended up getting passes together, and that was in 2002. Okay, 2002, and I've had an annual pass ever since. So I am a lifer. I've had this pass for a very, very long time. So I enjoy it. I don't go as much as a lot of other people. Like I honestly only go, I live about an hour away, to be honest with you. I live in California, but I'm in Los Angeles County. So George has been to my house. He knows. I'm not super close. I'm close enough, but once, twice a month, and I'm good. I'm not there every week by any means, nothing like that. And maybe that's what kind of keeps me a little bit like still enjoying it, I think maybe. Because I think sometimes people, and it's different with everybody. I know Marty goes all the time and he still loves the place, but I know sometimes fans go a little too much and then it becomes a little jaded, For me, once a month is just the right amount where I'm like, okay, it's still fun. I'm going pretty often, but I'm not getting bored of it. So yeah, I've been like 20 years with the annual pass. George, what about you, sir?
I was a late bloomer when it comes to the annual passes. I had my annual pass cherry popped, if you will, in 2019 when I went out to the D23 Expo, because at that time I purchased the Premier Passport.
Okay.
It's when I started doing a lot of frequent trips back and forth from Walt Disney World and Disneyland. So I thought it's better utilized if I just get the dual pass, if you will.
Right.
And then unfortunately, right after getting that pass, which I did enjoy for like the whole entire year of 2019, here comes 2020. Well, there goes that sucker. So eventually I ended up becoming a pass holder again for Walt Disney World and Disneyland, but separately with the Incredipass Pass for Walt Disney World and the Inspire Key for Disneyland, which it took me 3 years to become an annual pass holder again after 2020.
Interesting. Okay. Now Marty Snyder here says 98. I was into girls too. That's why I got the pass. And then he goes, get in line with a hottie. See, this is so funny, Marty. So you get in line with a hottie. So Marty, did you go? Did you get in line for Matterhorn? Because Matterhorn used to have the seating that was like that was like really good for date night.
Which I have to say, while I'm waiting actually for Marty to respond to that, I think it's funny that this all happened in 98, because in 1998, that was my first, I mean, I was still in elementary school, but that was my first,
Jesus,
that was my first crush. And believe it or not, that first crush is the person I'm currently dating right now after 25 years. So
that's awesome, dude.
Comes full circle.
It comes full circle. That's awesome. So she's a big Disney fan?
She is. Not like a huge, but I mean, like she knows Disney, she knows the company and what have you. But at this point, I don't really care. It only took me 25 years to hook, line, and sinker. So I mean, it's like
so funny, dude. Yeah, no, for me, for me, I don't really need like someone who's like a super fan.
Well, yeah, I actually I would prefer it not to be, because it's my thing. It's my niche. So it's like, I don't want toes to be stepped on. It's like, well, I know this over you. And I know, like, I kind of like that where it's like, I'll lead, you follow sort of thing.
Right.
But just enough fangirl, just enough.
Look at George being the alpha. I'll lead, you follow.
Did I just make myself a little problematic there?
Oh, you're freaking toxic, man. You're freaking toxic. No, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't, and sometimes that doesn't really work, right? Because like if you have people that are too much the same, like me personally, like I've always, like, full disclosure, I've always dated outside of my race. I've never dated a white girl. Isn't that weird? I've never dated a white girl.
That is something. But it's actually very funny, and nothing against, because I know the type of girls that you date, which, you've always said, I'm into like Asian girls and what have you. And I thought, okay, I mean, that's what he's into. I mean, I personally don't see it, but because I'm from the East Coast. After I spent some time in California, I can definitely understand why.
Yeah. Well, in California is such a melting pot, right? So it's very like, if you live in LA County, it's like, I mean, everyone is of a different culture, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a little easier to be introduced and being around that, But my point though is like I like when you're dating another Disney super fan, it's like the two same, right? Like I want to learn something from you. I want you to bring what you are passionate about to the equation,
Correct. Yes.
So if we're both like super nerds about Disney, it's like, what? It's boring.
Yeah.
I'd rather date a Universal chick almost, Like,
oh, damn. Oh, damn. You're going into some dark waters there.
There we go. Look at that. The theme park wizard would be pretty proud, huh? I think he'd be pretty proud. Let me see here. It says, Marty Snyder says, my wife sat in my lap. Should I be sharing that? So, wait, my wife sat in my lap, first date, first kiss, engaged, all in the same Disney spot. Oh, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty awesome.
Cool. That's cool.
That's pretty awesome. And then showcase here says Universal
Girls.
Yeah, exactly. So funny. Okay, I think we got like a couple more, then we're probably gonna close out. We're hitting that 2-hour mark, everybody. It's been a fun show. I've been having a lot of fun. We got to do more live shows.
Absolutely.
George, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. BJ Vincent here. Do you think David do you think Dave Filoni could introduce World Between Worlds, in which a collection of doors and pathways between time and space, linking all moments in time together to retcon Disney Star Wars? I've heard that rumor, believe it or not. There was a rumor about that not too long ago, like a few months ago, that they were going to retcon the sequel trilogy, and it all involved like Rey, and it was something with the World Between Worlds, something like that. I don't think they're going to do that, BJ. I really don't. I think what they're going to do is take the George Lucas route. George Lucas didn't retcon the prequels when the prequels got bad like fan reaction. What he did was he kind of built ancillary material around those movies, so the prequels became better. So instead of retconning the prequels, what George did was he made the Clone Wars series, and that became a fan favorite. So through the Clone Wars series, people kind of fell in love with that era of Star Wars. I think Disney's going to kind of do the same thing. I think they're going to do this ancillary material like on Disney Plus and other things to sort of make people fall in love with the sequel trilogy. So now that's fine. And I actually support that move, but you have to do it right, Disney. You have to go in there and really make good content in order for that to happen. The Clone Wars was dope as hell. If you're going to do this, you got to do it right. So we'll see. I mean, you only have a few chances at this. Like, the fans didn't love the sequel trilogy. So if you go in there now with a sequel trilogy themed Disney Plus show and it's booty cheeks, then you're going to have a problem. You only have so many times you can go into that era and try to fix this. So you got to get it out the gate. But what do you think, George?
Yeah, I've heard that rumor too. I don't necessarily know how much of it is going to come to fruition. It's definitely skating on a fine line that it could either go really well or really bad, especially in the trajectory of where Star Wars is leading. And then that would make Filoni like a target of how Kennedy is right now. So you have to be very kind of cautious of how it is done. If it is done well, then there is possibility where it could benefit films, series, on Disney Plus, the theme parks. But if it's done badly, then you're digging yourself a deeper grave there.
Yeah, it would be tough, man. You got to hit a home run. If you're gonna dabble in that sequel trilogy era again, you have to hit a home run. There is no wiggle room anymore. You got to do it. You got to hit a home run. Like, so you can't go in there and have like a very mid show. Like, if you have a Rey show, like a Disney Plus show, this show better be like House of the Dragon, like awesome. Okay. You better knock it out of the park. If it's not like that, then you're gonna, you got to go hard with it. As George said, you got to go balls to the wall. Miss Mindy here says, love my primetime 50s cafe. Yeah, so do I, actually. It's pretty cool. And then we got Cliff X. Hit those likes. Thank you so much, Cliff X. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate it. So I think we're gonna close it out. We gone for 2 hours. Oh, see here, Mariana Barbara is coming in. She's coming in with one more comment. Okay, Mariana, we'll do one more. Okay, she's saying here, what's your take of the criticisms of Ahsoka? I feel like recently that haters just to hate, and that they just want Star Wars to fail. I'm someone who hates KK. Okay, so full disclosure, Mariana, I don't know if you were here earlier. I did mention, and so George, we haven't seen Ahsoka yet. We're actually going to kind of do a little bit of a cram session because we're actually going to be doing a full show on Ahsoka tomorrow with Jay. It's a show on the channel called Story Geeks, and we're going to be reviewing the first 3 episodes. So I haven't seen it yet. I do feel, though, like what you're saying is a thing in general with Star Wars. I do believe it's sort of a trend just to sort of hate it. So that's an issue. It's an absolute issue. I think that I get it. Like, I don't like Kathleen Kennedy either. I don't. I said earlier on the show, she needs to go. If she were to leave tomorrow, the fan base, it would be like the Celebration on Endor moment. Like, it would be such a change of a vibe, such a change of energy within the fandom. It would be unreal. She has to go. At the same time, though, I think as fans, even though she's there, even though she's made mistakes, even though we've been disappointed in the past, we still have to go into this content with an open mind and we have to be fair. So we, and if it's not for you, and here's the other thing too, if Star Wars is not for you anymore, that's fine too. If you're like, you know what, I'm over Star Wars, I'm done with it, I'm not going to watch this stuff, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to take the time to watch it, you got to at least be honest about how you feel about it, right? And if you love it, awesome. And if you hate it, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that either. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It is a little bit of like, it's Star Wars. The in thing is sort of just to hate it. And that bugs me too. That really does bug me. But what can you do? You just got to find people that you trust in this space to get your fill of Star Wars, like reviews and what have you. I watched a lot of Christian Harloff. I watch our good friend Drunk 3PO. Who else do I watch in Star Wars? I don't know. I haven't really seen a whole lot of Star Wars content. Those are like the two main ones. Pretty much it right now. Yeah, but those two, they're fair. But yeah, what do you think, George? Star Wars fandom, hate it to hate it.
Yeah, I think, everyone's entitled to, just because if you dislike something of the Star Wars universe does not necessarily mean you hate Star Wars. There's fans that are stuck in the original. They're stuck with, within episodes 4, 5, and 6. There's people that love the prequels. They're stuck in the realm of episodes 1, 2, and 3. Believe it or not, there's even people that are stuck in the Raylo, type of thing. But it's like you like what you like. There's people that don't like Star Wars in that manner, but they'll buy Grogu merchandise. But it's some form of that you're supporting Star Wars, you're supporting Lucasfilm, and essentially you're supporting Disney. And I feel like, as you said, OG, if you love it, you love it. You hate it, you hate it. You love some, you hate some. You take it with a grain of salt. If you can try something new, like Ahsoka, we're going to give it a try. We're going to watch the first 3 episodes. If we enjoy it, we'll tell our honest opinion. If we don't, we'll give our honest opinion there as well.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. It's just all about being honest. Like if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Just, I think a lot of times there is a little bit of like bandwagoning and stuff like that gets intermixed with it. And Mariana mentions Nerd Theory. Yeah, actually, I enjoy their live shows a lot. I'm a huge fan of Den of Nerds and his commentary on stuff like that. So yeah, Nerd Theory is pretty cool. Mariana also continues. Also, I can't believe people called you sexist for wanting her to go. It's ridiculous. Yeah, people did call me sexist, and it's not just me. People call anyone who wants Kathleen Kennedy to go a sexist, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Look, I am not a sexist. Okay. I said it earlier in the show, one of my favorite movies is Frozen. How are you a sexist and have your favorite movie be Frozen? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. Okay. I am absolutely a fanboy, beyond fanboy of a girl group, a Korean K-pop girl group, Blackpink. Okay. I'm sorry. If you're sexist, you're not fanboying over a girl group. Okay. I'm not sexist. I just don't like Kathleen Kennedy. She's not right for the job. Look, she may be a fantastic lady in real life, and she probably is. I'm sure she's very sweet, very nice. The fact is, she's not running Star Wars very good. She needs to go. And if they replace her with another woman, that's fine, as long as that woman understands Star Wars. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, if you're black, white, green, purple, magenta, whatever. Just know the product. That's all I'm freaking asking. I even said earlier with Disney, I don't care if your last name is Disney or you're related to Walt or whatever. That doesn't matter to me. Just know the product. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking for. It's not super, super complicated. But what do you think, George? You're a raging sexist. Why do you not want that?
I'm right there with you. It's like, again, I don't care if you're male, female, black, white, Korean, Native American. If you know what you're doing and you do it well, I'm all for it. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, it has nothing to do with your ethnic background. It has nothing to do with being personal, your religion, what have you. It's just because I don't like you, because I don't like what you're doing for a specific cause. And Kathleen Kennedy, she is driving Lucasfilm into the dirt. She needs to go. Whether or not she's a female or not, she could be a man. And I would say the same thing. It's like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. They can come in and run Lucasfilm and crush it. And I'll say they're phenomenal. They were better than Kathleen Kennedy, not because they're men opposed to her being a woman. It's just because they know the brand. They know what the hell they're doing.
Right. And a woman might be just as knowledgeable and understand the brand. Look, there was a point in time. Now I'm falling out of favor of her a little bit as time goes on, which is actually related to Kathleen Kennedy. But there was a moment in time when I thought Dana Walden was.
I did too.
Right, the prime contender for the next Disney CEO. I thought, oh, Dana Walden's got the chops. She's on she's on her game. Like she gets it. You know what I'm saying? She's a studio person. She's doing like international work for the president, stuff like that. Regardless of what you think of Biden and all that stuff, she still has that experience, is my point. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, Dana Walden, she's got this. I don't care if a woman runs the Walt Disney Company. If she knows what she's doing, then by all means, have it happen. All I care about is if you know what you're doing, if you're competent. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. And whether it goes for the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, whether that goes for Lucasfilm or Marvel or any of these studios, just know what you're doing, And you can be a man and be just as stupid and run something into the ground. Look at Elon Musk. I'm kidding. No, I don't know. Elon, I don't know. I got to get Wizard on here. We got to talk about Twitter because Elon is a smart dude, but I think sometimes you can tinker with something too much and mess it up. Like sometimes you just have to say, okay, we're good. The cake is done. It's baked. The frosting's on it. Let's serve it. I think Elon's like, oh no, but wait a minute. Let's go ahead. Maybe we can change this and change that. It's like, nah, dude, leave the cake alone. Let's serve it. Like he's tinkering with Twitter too much, but I don't want to get too much into that because then we're going to go a whole can of worms. Tinkering way too much. But anyway, long story short, man, female, doesn't matter. If you know what you're doing, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. George, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Cliffix, Mariana Barbara, Sweet Miss Magical Mindy, BJ Vincent, Drunk 3PO. Let me see here. I'm going to go through the list. I've got Showcase of Wishes, who we love Showcase. We absolutely love Showcase. Marty Snyder, Brianna Lynch, Theme Park Casual. Who else we got here? Starship
Alia Aloha.
Aloha Starship. Let me see. Owen. We got so many people. John McKinney, our good friend Alessio, our fellow Italiano. So many people. Today was a banger of a live show.
It really was. Sam Chat.
It was a lot of fun, everybody. Matthew Murr. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Comment down below with all your thoughts on everything. Oh, and Slimer, late to the party, bro.
Slimer. Oh,
late to the party,
come on,
dude.
bro.
Look at this, dude. Oh man,
late again.
And then we got Showcase here with his little dinos. Yeah, we love Showcase. We spent a lot of time with Showcase when we were out there at Walt Disney World. Showcase is a national treasure. We protect him because we love Showcase.
Yes.
Now, because Showcase is here. I think you know where this is going, George.
Yes, I absolutely know where this is going.
We are going to do the Carl Jr. drop for Showcase. This is when Showcase is here. We do the Carl Jr. drop. You're a big Carl's fan, George. So
I am, and this drop just makes me love it even more.
There we go. We're going to close it out, everybody. Thank you so much for watching OG55, and as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Heavy hitters, yeah, go winners, yeah, yeah. Put 'em up, who the will it?